Fuck. What's up, man? Let me take you for a little spin, man. Show you what it feel like.
I gotta go make these drop-offs.
Man, you think you're the only one out here working, B? I gotta make drop-offs too, B. Come on, man, get in, man. I ain't taking no for an answer, man.
So I think the interesting point I think I'm getting to question is like, what is like the proper way to raise like a son versus a daughter, right? So like, what if you know, like, what defines like a proper son versus a proper daughter, right? So like, let's say I have a girl and she becomes a tomboy, and she wears jean jackets and she likes reading comic books and she does whatever other tomboy, whatever we define to be not womanly. Is she no longer a proper woman? Like, is she different? You know what I mean?
I mean, I hate to ask a question with a question, but can I ask you that because you just like title her as a tomboy, and it's like I don't want my daughter to be like have no title with a boy in it. So I mean,
I think she's still, and I mean, I would personally say
at the end of the day, she's still a woman.
She says she is.
You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't.
Well, I would say that
she's a title with the word boy in it. No.
Well, I mean, but I would feel that they can be whatever they want to be, and specifically, like, you know, if they decide that they're not a woman, then that's fine, you know. And I think that's where the term proper gets.
What do you mean if they decide they're not a woman? That's fine.
Like, what if they decide that they don't fit in with any gender? Like, they decide I'm a them. I'm a non-binary. I don't feel connected to these ideas of either one. Like,
so
would
what is
then
that's a whole deeper, but I'm intrigued by the topic because it's like that's like going against biology, ain't it? So is it a brain thing?
It actually, in recent years, there's been like evidence to suggest that there is like biological, like this gender fluidity, that like there is like biological reasons behind it. Like, you could have hormonal mixes within a person that, and I'm gonna butcher this a little bit, I'm not a scientist, but
right,
there that you can have like a person who has like female genitalia per se, like they have a vagina and whatever, and they don't identify with that, or like there is a dysmorphia between how they see themselves and that, and maybe that dysmorphia or the way they view themselves is I don't know, like, if it's like purely hormonal or if it's like purely just how they see themselves, but there is some science to say to see that like there are possible situations that aren't just like mental aberrations. They're like physical, like gendered, like someone thinking that they aren't a man when they have a penis and feeling like they identify better with a different gender, is like there is biology behind it. It's and it's very interesting to see how they like study this stuff, because especially when it comes to things like intersex babies or whatever that have both genitalia, and they, you know, sometimes they just decide which one's which.
Well, I feel like that's
just
different
like cut one
if
off.
you have both, because I mean, but it's when you have one or the other. So it's like if
I mean,
you have one or the other and you feel this certain way, you saying it's not mental, you saying it's hormonal. It's
not necessarily. Well, it can be both. It's like a whole thing where it's like you couldn't necessarily say to them, you couldn't like take them to therapy and talk them through it. It requires them to be like completely they have to, like, for them to like deal with that anxiety, they have to be able to express themselves in that way. And right, it's like they don't feel comfortable being what we say a woman is or being what we say a man is.
Right, no sweat.
And so like, you know, just talking them through it isn't going to work. Like they have to be comfortable in who they are.
Right.
Which they're currently thinking that no one is comfortable with the way they are.
I understand what you're saying. So let me ask you this. So would that be considered an illness?
I don't think so. I don't see, I think illness implies that,
or some type of, because something isn't right.
I mean, why is it not right?
I mean, if you
It's who
have,
they
I can
are.
see, I can see it. I understand as the person, as having you're a person because you have a soul. But as far as like you said, the example for the person having two, okay, I understand that. But when it's you have a specific organ, and then it's something inside you that doesn't coincide with the organ that you was born with, that doesn't lead to anything nothing being off anywhere.
I mean, not like
Not to say that it's
physically per
wrong,
se.
or you know what I'm saying, not even physically, not what I'm saying, not to say that it's wrong, you know what I'm saying, but just to say it's clearly, you know what I'm saying, not what the
Yeah,
body was intended.
I think I get. I think I get your idea, and I think it's an important distinction to make. But I think the thing is that if you want to clarify something as something that would be like an illness here, I would say it'd be the anxiety of not being able to be yourself, right? So like the problem isn't that they, at least if you're asking me, the problem wouldn't be that, they want to be a woman and they feel driven like instinctually to be that even though they have a penis. The problem would be that there are pressures that make it to where that having that desire makes them feel very, very nervous and anxious and as if they're going to not exist. Because it's one of those things where when we're talking about this kind of issue, a lot of people that have these problems, the way people that talk about them, usually to their face too, is that they're not real. If that makes sense. Which is very anxiety inducing, along with the threat of violence.
But right,
so
but even anxiety,
I'd say that was the problem.
Anxiety, but even the definition of anxiety is still a illness. So I mean,
yeah, and that's what I'd say. Like that part of it would be, but it's the same amount of an illness as, let's say, me having extreme anxiety.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's just
about something.
I don't want to say like the word that's in my head. I don't want to say normal. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody is unique, but I can't find. It's definitely something I'm gonna have to do more research on, and
it's very interesting.
I never thought of, you really made me think about it a different way as far as the people, because I always felt like a child is born and they don't know anything, you know what I'm saying, except for the survival skills that they're born with, you know what I'm saying, to find a nipple, stuff like that. And as far as everything else, they learn from what they see. So, and some kids not only learn from what they see, they, people are messed with, you know what I'm saying, growing up and choose a different lifestyle. So I mean, and that's why we had kind of delved deep into that, but I kind of want to swing back around to the topic of my podcast. But and I guess more too, when I was recording it, it was more speaking to my community, the Black community, because a lot of the issues that my people face is because we don't have any fathers in the homes, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's a part of the aspect too that I was bringing when I recorded that.
And yeah, that is very important. And I think you really nailed part of the head there at the beginning of that episode when you talked about how the system is built to remove the Black father from the home. It's 100% true. Like I would say that, I mean, you hear this argument all the time and it's complete fucking nonsense, but it's the argument that like Black fathers aren't there because of their culture. And I don't think that's the case. It's more likely the case.
Yeah.
It's because they're locked up.
Yeah. It's not locked up. And there's a lot of kids having kids, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I say like a lot of, I guess, well, I know a lot of the feelings from that podcast was speaking to my community. Is just, you know what I'm saying? So you got this boy being raised by his mama and he don't know how to handle his emotions, you know what I'm saying? Handle his emotions like his mama do, you know what I'm saying? And it's
stressful, man.
Yeah, and it's that's and just growing and being a millennial in my community in the city of Chicago, I see it a lot. It's just like a lot of young boys is like they future, you know what I'm saying? I hate to cast any aspersions on anybody, you know what I'm saying? because you be the next astronaut, but it's just not, it's not looking good. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, I feel like there's also, I don't want to like, speculate too much. So please catch me if I'm wrong here. But I feel like there's a lot of like cynicism in the some of these communities, because like they do see that like mean? Cops come in. So like they see that the future is already dead for them.
Yeah.
Because the way they see it, the community is being ravaged by like police and by like corporations coming in just taking money out. No money's staying.
It's not even the police necessarily, because at the end of the day, a lot of the police officers, they just regular people doing a job trying to get a paycheck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they put in environments and situations that they really, I feel like they're not qualified to handle, especially in a lot of these inner cities. Like it should be like Marine type training. You know what I'm saying? To be
or like there are certain cases where it's like maybe the police shouldn't be so one size fits all. Maybe.
Yeah, and it's just stuff like that. More police from the community able to, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. But it's just like it's
tough.
The inner city is like it's like a black hole. It's like, as a young black man, you can go out and you can spend 8 hours with a suit and a tie looking for a job. 8 hours in Chicago. It's about a 25% chance you're gonna come home with a job. But if you put on a white t-shirt and some jeans and spend 8 hours in the street, you're gonna come home with a gun and some crack.
And I mean, and that makes money, dude.
Right, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I can't put it all on the police, because it's like, they arrest young black people for selling little bags of drugs and having, you know what I'm saying, guns, but the guns is getting into community some way, but they not stopping that flow. You know what I'm saying? The police officers, whoever's supposed to do that, they're not doing, like, none of these people have gun cards, or a lot of them don't even have cars, and they killing people, but they have access to guns that the police don't even have access to. And they have access to drugs that's produced and made in other countries that end up in the inner city, but we can't get jobs, but we can get
I think that's like one of the key things there is that, so like you were saying, like if you go out with a tie and shit and you look for like a legit job, you have like a 1 in 4 chance you're gonna get one. And that's not great. That's fucking shit. And so when you say like that, and then you're like, oh, but they come back with like fucking a gun and crack, maybe they can make cash doing that. And I mean, it'd be hard to tell a reasonable person not to do that. I'm not saying do that.
But now you end up like, be dead in the street or in a jail cell. So it's like,
exactly.
Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just using myself. I always like to use myself as an example. Like I was putting in applications at one point in time, like left and right. And I'm a real tech guy. I did a Best Buy application. I told my lady friend, I'm like, yeah, I did the Best Buy application. I told them all what I do. She do the application. They call her back the next day. They never called me back to this day. Damn. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just, it ain't easy. You know what I'm saying? It's just until that stops. You know what I'm saying? Until these drugs from these other countries and these guns get stopped. They stop losing, like, you know what I'm saying, losing guns, because that's basically what's happening. Like I know teenagers with guns that's better than the police. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, until they stop that, there's gonna be, and I don't think they want to stop it. So it's gonna.
I mean, like, no, yeah, and you're right, 100%. And it doesn't help that since the fact that like there's so many illegal ways to make cash, it makes it easy for like police for like people to get just taken off the streets, right? So it's like,
instead of getting the big guys is bringing the shit in here.
Yeah, it's like, well, that was the thing. I think it was in the 90s. It's called broken windows policing, and the idea is that you'll fix crime-ridden neighborhoods or low-income neighborhoods or whatever they're wanting to use the phrase for at the time, by fixing broken windows. The idea being that like if you really criminalize things like small-time drug dealing, graffiti, like shit like that, like small-time shit, then people will get scared and won't do big things like murder, which it obviously isn't fucking true, because like When's the last time like a guy was like, I'm gonna go shoot somebody? Oh shit, they arrested that dude for graffiti. Well, I don't know, man.
It's over until they.
I don't know if I'm gonna do that anymore.
The drugs and the guns from coming in is not gonna stop. And then the neighborhood, a lot of the I don't know where you from?
I grew up in Texas,
okay.
in Austin.
I don't know if you ever see Chicago like on the media. Like a lot of the murders that's happening is like the gangs is retaliation cycles. You know what I'm saying? And it's like is really nowhere until you stop the influx of the illegal guns and drugs. It's going to continue. It seems like they're just trying to push them out the city now into the suburbs and stuff. So we'll see.
Oh well, yeah, they're just trying to just push them somewhere.
Yeah,
somewhere different, right?
Push it.
I know.
Trying to pretty up downtown and stuff and push everybody out.
I'm living in Boston right now, and I'm kind of next to a more like violent-ish neighborhood. Even though like violent for Boston really isn't that violent. Yeah. But there have been like a few.
I watch a lot of gangster movies, man. Boston got some.
But there was this dude like executed down the street, and there was a lot of shootings rising this summer. But from what we could tell, at least when I was seeing, it seemed like it was mainly like gang shit. Just like, people getting pissed at each other, fucking like kids, like 18, 20, some shit. They get mad at each other and go fucking, do what kids do, which is crazy shit. Right? Like,
and that's another thing too. That's just like, it's a crazy world, man. It's like all you can do is if you a law-abiding citizen, if you not get your own carry, conceal, because it's a crazy world, man. And what it is, a lot of people have mental illnesses. Like you hear a lot of these stories.
Yeah.
And it's just some people that's just sick. Like I know somebody that was just at a party and his girlfriend got into an incident with another female and he got up and shot somebody 5 times and killed a man in his own house. Like you gotta be sick to just get up and kill somebody over a scrap. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, it's fucking insane, dude.
Right.
Like I know, like I have friends who are into guns and shit, and
I'm into guns.
I like guns too.
You know what I'm saying?
I fucking love guns, dude. They're
Right.
fun, dude. They're a great time. But like, you never bring a gun where people are drinking, man. Like that shit's because you do shit like that. Like even if like you're
overly screen everybody, so it's like you just gotta like always protect yourself nowadays, man.
Yeah, well, it's like I remember in Texas when I was still there, they were like people were saying they need to put extra background screenings in, and the gun shops were like, no, we already have that, but they wouldn't check with other gun shops to see if someone's been screened before. So like if you went to Walmart, try to buy a gun, and they do a background check, and they're like, oh no, you don't qualify. You go to the Walmart next door, they don't ask, so they just be like, if that background check succeeds, which it could, because it could be a completely different company or whatever, then it's like, oh yeah, cool, you're good now. So like people would just like, if they did get failed, they just hit every gun store, which in Texas there's plenty.
But with that's why I say is like the best thing I feel like with that too is like always protect yourself, because like you can never really know what. So you know what I'm saying? A lot of people that do this crazy shit, they be living normal lives and do, you know what I'm saying, and snap, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of situations where it just be guys who been at their job for 30 years and they lose their job, you know what I'm saying? That's all they know. And they come back and they shoot everybody, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how could you? And his gun was lawfully purchased. He was a carry conceal, you know what I'm saying?
Got a serial number.
So it's like
on it, it's fucking
right. It's like you
never
never
know.
Like I always say it's a crazy time, and the best thing you can do is do what you can to protect yourself and create some type of generational wealth to protect
the generational wealth.
Yeah, to protect your people, and that's another thing. That's why I say a lot of my content I try to speak. I don't say I try to speak, but it probably naturally come off to me speaking to my community because I see what's like detrimental to like our community.
That makes sense.
Like ain't no growing up and in a house, you know what I'm saying, and mom, dad, garage, backyard, you know what I'm saying, you get 16, get a car, you know what I'm saying, shit like that. No, I don't go like that at all on shorty. So it's like it's a different world, man. It's way different. That's why I say like if and I appreciate your the dialect we having right now. It's really
I'm really, yeah.
I think it's real dope. Because I don't mean to sound, you know what I'm saying? You sound like you might be Caucasian, you know what I'm saying? So
Oh, I definitely am.
yeah,
You nailed it.
Yeah, so I appreciate the dialect we have, man.
No, it's nice.
I think people get a bad rap. We get a bad rap.
I mean, I think people are too. I think a lot of people experience like their life personally. Of course, well, everyone does that, but they sometimes I've noticed, especially with a lot of white people, is that there is like, especially since all like everything around us is based around white people to some degree, like, you know, like all like the movies and TV shows and shit, like, you know, even the fucking news based around white people.
All that, like, I mean, black people.
Yeah, everything.
Thought when that was written. So I mean,
and so I think it's interesting because I think a lot of white people then they see that and they assume that what they're thinking, what they're seeing is like the norm, because it is in a way, but they don't connect that with being white, right? They think it's like the normal way, but they don't make the connection that like it's white culture, that it's white shit, even though it is, because it's all a bunch of, you know what I mean? And so I think a lot of them then get really frustrated or confused or angry when you try and talk about the differences between the cultures, because to them, they're just doing the normal. They're just being themselves, and everything around them reinforces. And it reinforces the idea that this is not like a identity white politics thing. This is just this is how America is. Even though if you ask anybody who's lived in, like, you know, a black or brown community, they have a completely different life, entirely. And the white people are like, oh, well, you know, that's like the black community. It's like, well, in reality, even though you think that you're in the norm, you're in the white community, and there's a big difference there. And I think people have trouble like making that connection. So that's why you get a bunch of, like, I guess, fragile white people who get really upset when we talk about how there's differences.
I mean, if you, that's what I said. It's definitely differences. If we want to get technical, I mean, slavery was just like 4 or 5 grandparents ago, and that's
it's not far.
Right, and that's another thing, you know what I'm saying, that I feel like that plagues my community, and we don't get. That's why I said another thing about the mental illnesses and stuff. And a lot of the things too, you know what I'm saying, they give us too much credit, you know what I'm saying. It's just a different, I understand the time that we in, that you're able to put everything, everybody has a camera on their phone now, you know what I'm saying, everybody has a camera in their pocket.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying, just as far as like the gang banging and stuff, you know what I'm saying, black people, we didn't, that's why I went to say, like, white people, they have a culture. Black people, we never had a culture. You know what I'm saying? That was taken from us when we came here. So everything we know, that's like kind of what about the kid thing. Everything we know, we learned. You know what I'm saying? From like, we gang bang in Chicago now, but before we was gang banging, it was poor white people in Chicago gang banging. You know what I'm saying? Al Capone was up here cutting people in half with Tommy guns, you know what I'm saying, and blowing up bars.
He was going fucking crazy,
with kids in them, you
shoving
know what
his face into mountains of cocaine.
Right, so it's like, you know what I'm saying, it's like one, and it's like once that, and it's like literally, I don't know how it is in other communities. So it's like all the rundown communities that Al Capone them was doing their thing, and that's where the black people moved in, built in, and it got burnt back down when the king rights and all that shit, and the gang leaders got, that's probably a whole nother podcast. But
I mean, it's also worth to point out, like, you brought up like the fact that like slavery wasn't that long ago, and it also, like, there are like every single time, and you can see this throughout American history, where every single time like a black community started to get wealth or power, there was violent reactions to it. Like the Tulsa bombing riots are probably the big one everyone thinks of now because of Watchmen.
Yeah.
But that happened.
And black people don't even know about Watchmen. Like in my community, they don't know about Watchmen. So like a lot of people on my end won't even know. They don't even know what you're talking about. But they'll probably know if you say.
But then, like, also
the Black Wall Street bombings.
Yeah. But then also, like, even like before that, you know, there was the shotgun diplomacy era, where like when the Republicans gave away the South to the Democrats in the 1880s or whatever during Reconstruction. It was actually, I think at that time period, I think the South was like considered the most racially representative of the U.S. like I think ever in some degrees, because of like it was like the Republicans forced the South to elect black representatives in proportion to the number of black people in their states. And sure enough, you know, as soon as the black people start getting power there, you see the, you know, the people fight back. They get violent and they rip that all away. They started just like, you know, fucking shit up. And I think a lot of people forget that, like, you know, it hasn't been 180 years really. Like there's been resets. Even the civil rights legislation, right? There was, as soon as that happened, violent shit was going down, you know, and it was not most cases, it wasn't the black people instigating, you know. And I think at least a lot of white people tend to forget that, at least the ones I talk, not the ones I talk to, but the ones that a lot of people I've met seem to like not really grasp that concept. Because as you're saying, like there is like an interesting thing where it's like black culture is like completely unique to America. There's not like some long line you can draw back to and be like, oh, I'm from Chad or whatever.
Right. Like even our names and stuff, like it's like not technically they're all, you know what I'm saying, European names.
Yeah.
But you know, I
like
mean
Johnson.
That's just how the cookie crumble, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing, like that's why I don't hold no,
how it is.
I don't have no, you know what I'm saying, no hate, you know what I'm saying, in my heart toward nobody because of their skin color. But just asking from your perspective as a white man, do you how do you feel about like slavery? Like before I let you explain, just when I had touched on it not being too long ago, because I feel like my community is plagued by, when I talk about the mental issue, the mental illnesses, like I feel like that's like that can go in like generations, like, you know what I'm saying, like we was fucked up, like they was having people sleep with and that's another thing that go like into the like homosexuality thing with me, like it's like they was like breeding slaves, and it was breaking down black men by like bringing them out in front of everybody, and the strongest black man, and fucking him in the ass, or putting ropes around his legs and his arms, and just to make a statement in front of everybody else. So it's like, you know, even though we might not, you know what I'm saying, still have the physical scars from that time, I feel like somewhere in our cerebral, you know, cerebellum, whatever the fuck it is up there, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, it's still mental illness, some type of PTSD, you know what I'm saying, that's still, there's
well, so I think you're right. And I think that I don't think it's even necessarily like something like imprinted there. I would say that like we still treat, I mean, not to the extreme of like raping black men in front of other men to like show them what's up.
Right.
But like if you look at like how black people who try to stand and do something inside of their field, whether it be black women or black men, they are immediately castrated if it doesn't go along with whatever the mainstream white culture is. Like a solid example is Colin Kaepernick. He was a pretty solid quarterback. He was in the top 30-ish%. He wasn't the greatest, but he was better than fucking what's his name?
He definitely
Cam Newton.
should be.
Cam Newton still got a job.
I don't know if he's better than Cam. I think Cam Newton's just getting a bad. Everybody said Tom Brady didn't have an offense last year, so it's gonna act like Cam got one this year.
But either way, Colin wasn't like bad at his job. He definitely had the legs to go for like another decade in the NFL.
Right.
And then he does like a very slight protest, like not like some big protest. I remember like even originally he didn't show up for the pledge, and then his veteran teammate was like, yo, it's disrespectful, you should kneel instead. So he kneeled. Sure enough, like the white dominant culture,
the national anthem, we don't care about that shit.
Who fucking gives a shit about the national anthem, dude? But so he gets immediately castrated. Like, I mean, like it was, I don't know if that necessarily led to him losing his job. That's a different whole thing. I don't know. I'm not a sports reporter. But the way that the discussion around it was, oh, it sounded a lot like this black dude's getting uppity, we need to put him in his place. That's what it sounded like when it came down to white people talking about Colin Kaepernick. And I think that this is an example of what you're talking about, where I don't think like even though slavery is over, I don't think that the superiority complex is gone. You know what I mean?
Is not. I mean, it's written in the Constitution.
It's written in the Constitution.
All the laws and shit.
There.
So I mean, until that, that's why I kind of like, I liked when I didn't vote for Trump or anything, but I like the shake up. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the suit and tie, I'm just doing what I'm reading off this paper shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, the Democrats are like, sir,
I hate that bullshit
we're going to
so much. I hate that that Democrat Republican bullshit.
No, I feel it, dude.
I'm ready for like Oprah and Kanye West, man. Like for real. Not Kanye.
I mean, there's a reason.
But...
I mean, other than like, Trump's a bit of an obvious racist or whatever, but there's a reason why higher percentage of black people voted for him in 2020 than in 2016.
Okay, let me ask you. So you feel like Trump is an obvious racist?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Me personally, I don't feel like.
So I mean, there's some interesting stories if you'd like to hear.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to hear some stories, because just as far as, because I'm all about, you know what I'm saying, as far as, you know what I'm saying, ain't nothing wrong with being proud of being white, you know what I'm saying, that you white, you know what I'm saying, you got one life, like why would you not be proud to be who
I mean, I would say maybe not proud, but like don't feel like guilty. Like, have you seen those people who like go up to like black people and like wash their feet or whatever?
Yeah, like that shit is definitely weird. That shit is definitely
fucking weird. Like, don't do that. That's fucking.
Right.
But
right.
like
and that's what it's like. Some people, some black people that they consider radical, like they be like, things was good when everybody was segregating, everybody went to their own schools and stuff. So it's like, everybody has that's why too is like a lot of, you know what I'm saying, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, because I'm a young black man that work a 9 to 5, but I got a lot of tattoos and shit, and I feel like I'm in a store around an older white woman or older white man. You know what I'm saying, sometimes I get vibes. You're gonna get scared. Supervisor or like a supervisor at a job, I just feel like, you know what I'm saying, they try it because it's just they're so old. At one point in time when they was, you know what I'm saying, young and like me, it was normal to, you know what I'm saying,
like have a guy get thrown out
in public, you know, in public. So it's like now you trying to act like something that you ain't just been doing for the last 20 years. So you think like for instance, like if a white female was to bring a black guy home to his parents and his grandparents was like wouldn't approve type shit like that.
It's possible. It's still a thing.
So that's why I'd be like, a lot of shit be like still be happening too. It's like it'd be a lot of still people who still stuck, who still alive, that was back when that shit was okay. So like now they gotta act like
that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they gotta be all fucking, or like it's even just like ingrained too. Because like, I mean, I know personally I experienced. It wasn't like my parents were raising me to be racist or some shit. They weren't telling me like they were trying to tell. They would always be like, remember, you can't fucking judge people based off the skin of their color. But like when you live in an insulated community, I lived in a town full of white people exclusively. Like my part of the city was full white, and I remember like the first
I can't remember last time I talked to a white guy, like for real.
But like the first like few years of me dealing with black people, you know, I would get scared the first time I see them, you know, and it took a while to like break out of it. And it's not like, you know, I don't think my parents like bred it into me. I think it was just that, you know, I lived in an all white town with a bunch of white people, and everything on TV, all the movies, they had the black guys be criminals and they had fucking white people as the normal dudes. And I think but
the white people be
I knew
their families and be serial killers and stuff.
Well, they are, yeah, but it's just like it's like fucking, it's like a baked in type shit, right? It's like constant imagery.
Exactly. That's why I say, like, and for somebody who was living that shit, you know what I'm saying, that grew up in that shit.
Yeah.
Chasing black people.
And so it's just like
shit.
I just remember like fucking like first seeing him, I remember thinking like, oh shit, you know, you get kind of scared and then feeling really bad because you're like, you're not supposed to get scared, you know, type deal. Because whatever. And it's not, it's just fucking, I think that's where like this, like, I don't like that segregation idea, because I feel like it'll just lead to more fucking people who get sketched out when they talk to different people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Because you don't know how to. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing too about what I say about like the police and the community. Not even necessarily I'd be like, you gotta have all black police officers, but it's Latinos. You know what I'm saying? And it's poor white people too. You know what I'm saying? But that's basically all it boils down to. We in this in a poor city where it's an influx of illegal drugs, guns, and sex trafficking. So until they do like how the police bust the bad guys on the movies when they get like a whole truck full, they busting a warehouse and shit until they start doing that shit. They're
never gonna do that shit, dude.
Right? Because
they never go after.
I heard of like if they made like cocaine 100% legal, like the stock market would crash.
Dude, I mean, honestly, legalizing fucking drugs would help a lot, right? At the very least,
decriminalizing drugs will stop. It was the cartels wouldn't have no business, and they killing people.
Yeah,
you can't even travel to Mexico certain times of the year because the cartels are at war. So it's like,
dude, we would buy good old American fucking cocaine and crack, and we wouldn't need to buy this imported bullshit. Like, we could buy it down the street from Sally,
I feel like it's eventually just gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's just like with alcohol, just now how we going through with marijuana. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Once you can't have these black and brown people become millionaires and billionaires off this shit, and y'all not getting y'all cut. And now that at the age we in where everything is documented and it's in the open, so like now we're gonna just regulate it, so make sure nobody overdoses and just put our tax on it. And, you know what I'm saying? But you know, just like they was chasing Al Capone them around, now they got beer commercials and shit. Which I was chasing them around, shooting them in the ass for the shit.
Now he's like number one celebrity, dude.
So yeah, I get the Capone some money. Do they inherit? You know what I'm saying? They should get some type of payment.
I think they do.
They should.
I think they get fucking cash.
If they do, black people should definitely get some type of reparations. If Al Capone, getting reparations, we should get reparations.
I wouldn't be surprised if Al Capone's family's got like fucking back end. I mean, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if they got back ends on the Scarface.
How you feel about reparations? You know, I wouldn't be mad if it was one check. If it was one check for like every black person that's alive right now, get 10,000. Everyone that's born get 10,000. When you born, get 10,000.
So I think it would be. I think that if you were to do like cash reparations, I don't know if the U.S. has the money. Man, straight up.
Let me tell you something about money, man.
High enough.
Let me tell you something about paper, man.
I'm not even saying like
you can print that I shit out the woos out, man. That shit not real, man. I don't think that shit.
But
real,
I was thinking like, I think like a really good form of reparations would be something like,
because we can't get 40 acres
Robin Hood Act.
No, we don't want no slow money. We don't want no money that's gonna build in over years and over. We gotta wait till we get old to spend that shit.
Well, so I remember, so there was this policy in Austin. I don't know if it's still a thing anymore, but it's called the Robin Hood Act, where they would take money from rich school districts and they'd give it to poor school districts as a way to like try and even the playing field. And I think that could be an achievable form of reparations. One thing, if you want to get, I'm just saying this is from a political standpoint. If you want to get reparations passed, you can't make it about black people. Sadly, you have to make it about poor people.
See, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. Like we could never, you know what I'm saying? That's like we always like it can't be. That's why I said like white people still don't want to. I feel like they still find it hard to accept that we got fucked over. Because it's like we can never just be like it always got to be lumped in with like the women's rights and the gay rights. Like if you want to be honest, like Obama got more like legislation passed for gay people than he got for black. And that's definitely dope. You know what I'm saying? That's good for them. But he got more legislation passed for the LGBTQ than he did for black people. And it's like I feel like there's certain, you know what I'm saying? They can't just. They deserve legislation, but they can't leapfrog us.
No, it doesn't. I think that's a thing that's important to think about is that, like, so one thing that's really interesting specifically about black rights is that if you like try and claim, and it's gotten better. I think the conservatives have gotten less effective at running this tool. But if you try and claim that we should help black people in any way, then you'll get these weird arguments like, oh, you're belittling black people by saying you want to help them. Oh, you're actually being racist against white people because some vague reason about how racism is literally just about the color of one's skin, and how like if I say you're black, you're racist, some stupid shit like that. So if you're like saying like, oh, you know, let's do reparations in the form of like community building, like putting zero taxes on black owned businesses in black communities or shit like that, they'll be like, oh no, that's actually fucking racist. Which like, I mean, if you want to be real technical and shitty about it, yeah, but that's not the point to some degree. And I think that's what makes it so hard for black politics to matter, because you're trapped with like a Democratic Party that kind of doesn't give a shit. And then like if you try and be more radical, then you're kind of shoved into a corner. Yeah, I mean, Colin Kaepernick took a knee on a field and he lost his job. Like, yeah,
but then that kind of touches on a point where I say, and at the end of the day, who runs the NFL is old white men when it was okay. You know what happened to Colin Kaepernick in their younger days if he would do some shit like that?
Oh, dude. That would have been a bad day.
So it's like,
a real bad day.
I was hearing some whispering, like they trying to get some things changed where they want to stop calling the people owners. You know what I'm saying? After the whole Donald Sterling incident, I don't know if you know about that. So it's
the Donald Sterling incident.
Yeah,
no, I haven't heard about that.
He was the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, and he had like a mistress that recorded him. Saying,
oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He don't want her with no black guys, and don't bring no black guys to his games and shit or the ball.
That reminds me of. Did you know the whole Bob McNeil? No, Bob McNair thing with the Texans. He was the old owner of the Texans.
Was that the drunk guy?
No, it's Yeah. So Bob McNair. So he got during, I think it was the 2018 season, maybe the 2017 season. It was during the Kaepernick stuff because the Houston Texans decided to do like a little protest thing. And then at an owners meeting, he was like, look, we can't have the inmates running the prison. And they all fucking bailed out.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at the very best, poor choice of words.
I mean, poor choice of words, but you know what I'm saying? Like I said, and then people see, I feel like that's why I say, like, people will be like, you gotta have people, like, hold people with some type of self accountability. Like, you in that position, you know what the fuck you doing. You know what you're saying, man.
If he's claiming that he has the legitimacy to hold $3.8 billion and take that from other people and hold that so other people can't use it, he should be able to not say racist shit at his business meetings.
Right.
I mean, he has that power. He should be able to hold it responsibly.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. And it's like, it's just the age we living in is so different. Like, everything's recorded. Like, everything is Watergate. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Business meetings 10, 20 years ago, shit. You know, that's what the fuck they was doing, shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that reminds me of, you know, the Papa John's thing?
I kind of remember. I don't see. It's not a lot of Papa John's in Chicago. There's no.
So if I remember correctly, I actually have an uncle who owns a few Papa John's in San Antonio, and he was telling me like, so they were trying to like revamp the whole Papa John's thing since people weren't into Papa John for it, because I think he was like dating some young chick from like she was like 18 or 19 or something, and he's like 50 or some shit. I don't know the exact details of the reason up, but then there was like going to be a conference call where he was supposed to like talk, and I think it was going to be used for marketing campaigns or whatever. At least that's what my uncle told me, that like, the purpose of the call was to be recorded. And then he used the N-word, man, just like in like a very nasty way, man. And then he and of course they released it.
Exactly.
And then, you know, it's like, how'd you forget, dude, that you're being recorded? Also, you're at a conference call, man. And then sure enough, he got fired, which is kind of crazy to think that Papa John got fired from Papa John's.
That's what I was saying. That's similar to the Donald Sterling thing. Like they made him basically sell his team and get out of the NBA. But it's like that's what I think. That's why I say it's just I think they was doing. It's been going on for so long, and then you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? At that age, you know what I'm saying? Like I kind of grew. I'm 28, so I kind of grew into the computer age a little bit. So but when you're a little older, that shit kind of like smack you in the back of the head. Like I still gotta like let my mom know, like, Mom, you don't have to get cable. You can just get all these streaming services. You got Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah, I got.
So it's like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, oh shit, this is a recording. You know, goddamn recording. You know what I'm saying? So
they're like, oh fuck.
Oh sure. So,
God damn it, it's not the 60s anymore.
Right. So it's like definitely a lot of people just putting on a mask in the front, man. But hey,
oh yeah,
this definitely went longer than I expected. I don't even know what the fuck the title of this gonna be anymore.
I don't know, man. This is
especially because I didn't hit record for the first probably 30 minutes. So
my bad fuck, dude. That, man. It's all good.
Hopefully you got some good on your end. But I got I don't even know. I'll probably just release it in clips, man. This is definitely with some good Discord. I appreciate you coming in. I definitely gonna have to. We're gonna have to set some up with more with some more structure, man, so we can get have some better dialogue, man. I appreciate having your input and you coming on to the show and reaching out to me, man.
No problem. I you know, really enjoyed the time. It's good talk. It's good talking to people that sometimes you disagree with, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even I even disagree, but just to get like just to, you know what I'm saying, ask a white person a question without them getting, you know what I'm saying, like getting all crazy, you know, or
getting all fucking weird.
Me not even knowing if they gonna, you know what I'm saying, because like I don't talk to no white people, you know what I'm saying. So like,
I mean, I honestly, your fear isn't
like if I see a white person, he got a badge and a gun.
Oh God, dude, that's terrifying.
That's how it is in the inner city of Chicago. That's why that's on.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, if it makes you feel any better, a lot of us are as scared as the police as well.
Yeah,
maybe not as much. I mean, I don't know. The police have fucked with me.
Me personally, I don't fear no man. It's just that's another topic for another show. But it's just I feel like if it's your time, it's your time. But you still at the end of the day, you still gotta stand for something. You know what I'm saying? You can't let nobody treat you like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? But
I don't know. It's just that police, man. They can do whatever the fuck they want to you, man.
Yeah, that's what the thing. Police, they normal people at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And you gonna get some type of power complexity when you get a badge and a bulletproof vest and a car that can run red lights. You know, you ain't no way you're gonna act normal. So you know, and then now you put them in these pressure cook situations and still telling them to act normal. So.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, remember that you have to be the cool-headed, calm, brave dude who's gonna stop 9/11.
Right.
But we're just gonna we're not gonna go that hard into it. But
just went through high school with no fist fights, and we're gonna send you to the hood and tell these guys get off the corner.
Sir.
See how it works out for you. And then that's how people get shot, because it's like fear, you know what I'm saying? It's fear.
Yeah.
It's fear.
I mean, I know. No,
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I done been on some places out here and I done put my hand on my, you know what I'm saying? I'm licensed, but you know what I'm saying? But it's definitely some sketchy places out here, but
no, you don't want to fuck around, dude. You know what I mean?
That's what I said.
You got to know where you are.
We definitely gonna have to link up in the email, man, and come up with some more structure, man, and set something up, man, and get some more content out. So appreciate you coming on the show.
For sure, dude. No problem.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
See ya.
All right.